Today we're going to continue dressing up the front of this 2023 Toyota Tacoma, and we're going to do that with a steel front bumper skid from Rockslide Engineering. Now this front bumper skid is made from 1/8" steel that's been formed, welded, and then powder coated against corrosion. And it's an easy install. Now, of course, you can get a full-size replacement front bumper for the Toyota Tacoma, but then you're trimming on that front plastic fascia and trimming those flares. And well, what if you don't want a full-size bumper and you don't want to go through those hassles, but you do want to add a little more protection? That's what this front bumper skid from Rockslide Engineering is for. And as a bonus, it has a slot for up to a 20" light bar. And as I said, it's an easy install. We're going to show you that now. The tools we used for this install were a rubber mallet, a 3/8 and 1/4 drive ratchets, a couple different length extensions, a 10mm and 14mm deep socket, a 5/16 hex key. Then we had a 7/16, a 10mm and 12mm short sockets. Then a pair of flush cuts, needle nose pliers, crimpers, then 3 different size flat screwdrivers. That's a long, a medium, and a small. A plastic panel tool, some black tape, a pair of safety glasses, and then a power driver that we use to pull fasteners with, never to install them. We're going to start out by removing these 2 top screws, and that's going to take a 10mm socket. Then you have this push rivet on either side, and you can use a small screwdriver or even a panel tool. Just pop up that center and the body comes right with it. Then we're going to reach in, grab these tabs, lift up, and then just pull the grill out. You want to disconnect your front sensor. You're just going to depress that tab and then wiggle it apart. And we do have that aftermarket OLM grill here that we got a few more wires to disconnect. And off comes your grill. This is that plastic front bumper fascia that we're going to replace, and there's little tabs that snap in on the top and the bottom. And if we look down inside, now this can be a little tough to show you, but we just have these little clips. You kind of got to pry them up while prying on that plastic bumper fascia. And we can pop them out. Then we got to reach up and get the ones on the top, and I really can't show that to you with a camera. There we go. And once you get it started, you can just kind of work your way around. And there's your front bumper skid. Then we have the plastic cone absorbers. And those have little tabs that we just pry down with your finger. Then we have the aluminum crash bar, and that's held in place by 3 nuts on each side. They take a 14mm socket. Then you have 2 bolts in the center, and those are 10mm. All right, then we have these screws here that are going to come out. On the crash bar, on each side, you have this black metal bracket that goes back, and it's just a support for the front fascia. We're going to get in there with the long screwdriver. Then we got to pop the plastic liner out over that rivet. Boom. And now it's just a matter of working this back and forth. Now to get this crash bar out, we need to remove one of these crush cans, and that's just a matter of 3 more nuts, and they're also that 14mm. Slide that back far enough, clear that bracket. Then we want to put this crush can back in. Now we're going to install our rubber welting. We went with the Rigid SR Series 20" light bar for this install. Now this rigid light bar puts out 17,000 raw lumens, and that's at only a 9.5 amp draw. It is IP68 rated, meaning it can handle the dust, mud, and water, and it has a 50,000 hour lifespan. The body is high-grade aluminum and the lens is impact-resistant polycarbonate, and that's going to help protect the lights from that on and off-road use and abuse. Then we have our side brackets, and they can really only go on one way. We just want to make sure that we have the channel facing in. And we're just reusing the nuts that held that aluminum crash bar in place. Now those orange clips we popped out of those brackets earlier, we just want to compress them and push them down in. We can push it through, and there's our clip. So that's just another one of those push pins. Just pull the center out, pull the body out, and then we're going to grab this bracket and give it a little tug. And pull it out on both sides. There goes that pin. And these are the side support brackets, and remember those clips we pulled out earlier, they're going to snap right in from the bottom. Right, so then that's going to slide in, and it's going to go over. That's going to go over that aluminum crush can. Slide the bracket in. We want to work until we can line up those holes. Then we can slide that guy right down in. Get a rubber mallet down in there, and you can just tap that into place. Now that we've got our bumper skid on, we want to get in and tighten up the 3 nuts on the end of the bumper extension brackets. Now before we reach in there, we grabbed a piece of black Gorilla Tape and we ran it down the edge of this black metal brace. It is sharp and it does bite. We're going to get in here on these and we're going to tighten those guys up. Then we installed the bumper skid hardware, and those come in through the side. You have 2 on each side, and they are 1/2 inch, both on the bolt and the nut. Then we have this black button head bolt with a black washer, and then a stainless washer and a nut. And that's going to go through these center holes to lock the fascia in place. Now we can put our side panels back in place. Okay, and that's for that cool OLM grill we've got. Then for that 20-inch rigid light bar, we want to run our wires in. Now we've got our rigid wiring harness, and to start out with we have our relay, and that's going to go up here right on the fender wall. Then we have our red and black, and they're going to go out to the lead from our light bar. And then this is our control lead, so our blue, red, and black, and they're going to go up into the cab. Let's go ahead and run that wire up. Then last is our black and red battery terminals. crimping our leads. For our leads going into the cabin, we want to run them right through this main grommet, and so we need to punch a hole right down in here in the soft area in that pocket. Don't go out here because this is actually going out over the sheet metal. So now if we look down underneath the dash, we can peel this away and you can see that grommet, that rubber grommet. Now I've got a set of flush cuts. You can use any sort of snips. I'm just going to come in here and just make a little incision. And this is a gigantic zip tie, but you can use anything else. And we're just going to pass that through to the outside. So now we got our monster zip tie. And we're just going to put a couple wraps around it. Now we can take our panel tool and we can throw our switch right in here, whatever works. Black wire to the gold prong. Blue wire goes to the middle prong, and the red wire goes to the remaining prong. We've got a 12mm socket for our hot lead. Then we'll switch over to 10mm. I'm going to tie right into our battery ground. Now put our fuse in. And then our push pins. So there you have it, the Rockslide Engineering front bumper skid and that 20-inch SR Series rigid light bar. We've added a little bit more protection to the front of our Tacoma and a whole lot more light. And it's definitely an easier install than doing a full replacement aftermarket front bumper. If you'd like one for your Tacoma, well, hit that link down in the description box below and get one on its way.